hypnotized. She's pretty, look into her eyes. They tell 1,000 stories of the past. Some of the memories she wish she didn't have. She's brave like her mind. She's a woman.
Hi everybody. I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope everybody's having a blessed day. Have you ever wondered why you can understand your patterns intellectually and yet your body keeps responding as if the past is still happening? You may know that you're safe. You may know that you're allowed to rest. You may know that you don't have to earn love. And yet, somewhere inside your body, there may still be tension, vigilance, shutdown, guilt, shame, or feeling that something bad is about to happen. What if healing isn't about changing the thoughts in your mind? What if part of healing is learning to listen to the language of your body? Today we are talking about somatic reclamation, the process of reconnecting with the body, becoming aware of its protective responses, and creating new experiences of safety, choice, and agency. And we are going to explore something many people describe as ancestral emotional patterns, can be carried through families and repeated across generations. But before we begin, an important distinction: we don't need to assume that specific emotions or traumatic memories are literally stored inside your cells for this work to be meaningful. Trauma can affect the nervous system, behavior, relationships, attention, stress responses, and learn patterns. And families can pass patterns from one generation to another through relationships, environment, culture, parenting, and sometimes biological mechanism. So this isn't about blaming your ancestors. It's about recognizing what may have been passed down and deciding what you want to carry forward. The body remembers its own language. There is a kind of knowing that doesn't always come through words. Your shoulders tighten, your stomach contracts, your breath becomes shallow, your jaw clenches, you freeze, you become restless, you want to run, or suddenly you feel nothing at all. These responses can be part of the body's protective system, and sometimes the body reacts before the conscious mind has had time to understand why. This one reason, simply telling yourself, "I'm fine," doesn't always create a feeling of safety. The mind may understand the present. The body may still be responding to an old pattern. Somatic work begins by asking a different question. Not what's wrong with me, but what is my body trying to tell me? What question creates space? Instead of fighting the sensation, we become curious about it. Instead of judging ourselves to relax, we begin discovering what actually helps our body feel more settled. Because your body isn't the enemy. It has often been trying to protect you with the tools it learned. What does ancestral really mean? When people talk about ancestral trauma, the conversation can sometimes become overly mystical. So let's ground this idea. Imagine a family in which emotions were never discussed. A child learns, don't cry, be strong, keep your problems to yourself. We don't talk about what happens in this family. That child grows up, they become a parent. Under stress, they may repeat the same behaviors, not because they consciously choose them, but because those were the behaviors they learn. Their child observes the atmosphere, and eventually that child may become an adult who struggles to express emotions, ask for help, or safe being vulnerable. The pattern has traveled, not necessarily because trauma was magically deposited into the body, but because human beings learn from one another. We inherit environments, we inherit stories, we inherit beliefs, we inherit coping strategies, and sometimes we inherit silence. This is why breaking a family pattern can feel so profound. Because you're not only changing yourself, you're changing what becomes possible for the people who come after you. The survival pattern may be your family survived through hypervigilance. Someone always had to anticipate danger. Maybe survival meant staying quiet. Maybe love was unpredictable. Maybe conflict was dangerous. Maybe achievement became the pathway to approval. Maybe everyone learned to put themselves last. Maybe being needed became synonymous with being worthy. These strategies may have helped someone survive their circumstances, but survival strategy can outlive the environment that created it. And this is where we often experience the tension between the past and the present. You may be living in a different environment with different choices, different relationships, different resources, and yet your nervous system may still reach for the old strategy. Somatic reclamations ask, do I still need this response right now? Not why am I like this, but is this response still serving me? That shift can be incredibly powerful. Reclamation is not war with your body. One of the most important principles of somatic work is this. You don't heal your body by declaring war on it. If your body learned to protect you through tension, control, shutdown, or vigilance, attacking those responses can create even more internal conflict. Instead, we can approach them with compassion. You may say, I notice that I'm tense. Something in me feels afraid. My body is preparing for something. I don't have to get rid of this sensation right now. It means creating enough safety to listen. And sometimes the most healing thing isn't making a sensation disappear. Is discovering that you can experience a sensation without abandoning yourself. A simple somatic reclamation practice only participate if this feels comfortable for you. And if focusing inward makes you feel overwhelmed, dizzy, panicked, disconnected, or unsafe, stop and reconnect with your surrounding, or seek support from a qualified professional. You don't need to force anything. Step 1. Pause. Let yourself become still for a moment. You don't have to change your breathing. You don't have to achieve a special state. Just notice that you're here. Step 2. Orient. Look around the room. Notice the colors. Notice the shapes. Notice where the doors and windows are. Notice the surface supporting you. Let your eyes move slowly. You are reminding your system, I am here in this moment. Step 3. Feel your points of contact. Notice your feet against the floor, or the chair beneath you, or your hands resting somewhere comfortable. You don't need to search for trauma. Simply notice sensation, pressure, temperature, movement, stillness. Step 4. Notice without forcing. Ask yourself, what am I experiencing right now? Maybe warmth, maybe nothing obvious at all. There is no correct answer. Step 5. Ask a gentle question. What does my body need right now? Maybe it needs movement. Maybe it needs rest. Maybe it needs boundary. Maybe it needs connection. Maybe it simply needs you to stop pushing. And then comes the most important part. Somatic reclamation isn't only about feeling, it's about agency. You are practicing the experience of having a choice. Breaking ancestral pattern doesn't necessarily mean rejecting your family. It can mean honoring what helped people survive while refusing to continue what harms you. You can say, I understand why this pattern existed, and also, I don't want to live inside it anymore. You can respect your parents and still establish boundaries. You can love your family and choose emotional honesty. You can understand your ancestral fear without making their fear your identity. You can be grateful for what was passed down while consciously choosing what stops with you. This is where reclamation becomes more than self-improvement. It becomes differentiation. You begin asking, which beliefs are actually mine? Which behaviors did I learn? Which fears belongs to the present? Which ones were shaped by an environment I no longer live in? And perhaps the deepest question, what do I want to pass forward instead? You don't have to heal everything at once. There is another trap in healing culture. They believe that we have to uncover every wound, understand every childhood experience, release every emotion, heal every ancestral pattern, become completely regulate, and somehow arrive at a state where nothing ever triggers us again. That's not realistic. Healing isn't becoming a person who never feels fear. It's becoming a person who can meet fear with more awareness. It's not never becoming activated. It's learning that activation doesn't have to control every decision. It's not erasing your history. It's developing a different relationship with your history. And sometimes healing is incredibly ordinary. You say no, you rest, you ask for help, you express anger without destroying yourself or someone else. You let yourself cry. You stop explaining your boundaries. You choose a relationship that feels reciprocal. You allow joy without waiting for something terrible to happen. These moments may look small, but patterns are changed through repeated experiences. Imagine that healing doesn't mean becoming disconnected from where you came from. Imagine it means becoming conscious enough to choose what continues. Maybe what continues is resilience, creativity, humor, devotion, community, strength, wisdom, and maybe what ends is silence, emotional suppression, fear-based parenting, abandoning yourself to keep the peace, believing that suffering is the price of love. You don't have to carry everything simply because it was handed to you. Some things can be honored without being repeated. Some things can be understood without being continued. And some things can end with you. Your body is not a problem you need to solve. It is part of the place from which you experience your life. And perhaps somatic reclamation begins with a simple act: listening. Listening to the tension, listening to the fear, listening to the numbness, listening to the part of you that learned to survive. Not so that you can remain trapped in the past, but so that you can be responding from the present. You may not be able to change everything that happened before you, but you can participate in what happens next. You can learn new ways of relating. You can create new boundaries. You can develop new responses. You can become more aware of the patterns you carry. And little by little, choice begins to replace automatic reaction. That is reclamation. Not becoming someone completely different, but returning to the parts of yourself that survival taught you to leave behind. So take a breath, feel your feet, look around, notice that you are here, and remind yourself, I can honor where I come from without becoming everything that came before me. I can carry forward what nourishes me. I can release what no longer belongs in my life. I am allowed to choose what continues. And perhaps the chain doesn't break because we finally become free from our history. Perhaps it breaks because we stop allowing our history to decide our future. If this message resonated with you, subscribe for more conversations about somatic healing, emotional patterns, self-reclamation, and breaking cycles. And in the comments, Share one pattern you are consciously choosing not to pass forward. Not with shame, with awareness, with compassion, and with choice. I hope this helps you, and I love you all. Goodbye.